So the newest live letter aired a few days ago with the awesome job action trailer, and I somehow messed up the date for this. I thought that it was airing this week. So yeah, I just watched it and I'm a little bit behind on this one. Anyways, to no one's surprise at all, the job action trailer was incredible. The new abilities look fantastic. I honestly think that Final Fantasy XIV has some of the best looking spell effects and animations in the business. Now, with all that being said, the one that really caught my eye was the new job gauge elements for the ninja. The Hooten gauge was mysteriously missing, replaced by a row of kunai. So does this mean that ninja is getting some kind of combo point system? That would be like a dream come true for me, taking what is already my favorite physical DPS and making it even better. Anyways, after the trailer was all done and finished, Yoshida then delved into some feedback regarding the benchmark. So, the first bit of feedback had to do with the shaders. They weren't interacting correctly, and that led to some funkiness with how the characters were looking. Yoshida mentioned that this isn't happening in the full game, it was only an issue in the benchmark, but they will have it fixed for the updated one. And the other feedback had to do with the characters' teeth, and that's when we got some close-ups of some very gnarly looking chompers. One of which resembled the teeth of someone who has been smoking a lot of crack. Now, to be fair, this is how the teeth looked before the graphics update, and is something I actually never noticed before, but now I can't unsee it. Anyways, the actual feedback was about the Makote's fangs. With the update, they weren't as pronounced and sharp, so the developers will be changing them to look more like they used to. And the other nightmare fuel was a close-up of a Lalafel's teeth, which just looked so wrong. They resembled how teeth look in a dog's mouth, just way too close and bunched together. So they are fixing that as well. Now, if I'm being perfectly honest, I would have never noticed the teeth if it wasn't pointed out. That's just not part of the game that I paid that close attention to. But I do think it's fantastic how seriously the developers are taking all the feedback. They want everyone to be happy with the new models. Alright, so next up, let's take a look at some of the new job updates. Alright, so as levels increase and we learn more and more abilities, it becomes harder and harder to decide, where to place them on our hotbars and which keybinds to assign them. The developer solution to this was to create abilities that update dynamically on your hotbar as you progress through your rotation. I actually really like this direction. I don't think that the difficulty of playing a job should be in figuring out how do I bind all these abilities in a way that doesn't make my hand cramp. However, if you like having every ability as a separate keybind, they are also adding an option to shut off this functionality. So this is a win-win for everyone. Now, when it comes to the current job updates, the theme of streamlining is here as well. For example, they are merging Dark Knight's Blood Weapon and Delirium into a single action. Since these abilities are always used together, combining them makes a lot of sense, and will make the burst phase have a much smoother flow. And that's something that was shown across multiple jobs, simplifying recast management while trying to enhance and create a smoother combat experience. Another incoming change is with abilities that refill resources. For instance, take Red Mage's Manification. In its current state, it grants 50 black and white magic. However, in Dawntrail, it makes your enchanted combos free to use, so now you can utilize it whenever you want without the worry of maxing out the gauge. Now, you could make the argument that this change will make those jobs easier. Part of the skill is managing your resources, but I think more often than not, the way it is currently, you're always questioning when to burn the resources, and if you will have enough afterwards to fully optimize those refills. I don't think that feels very good at all. So most of the other announcements can be summarized as extensions to your combos, or boosting the potency and duration of existing abilities. Now, to be perfectly honest, I didn't find those to be the most exciting announcements, but I'm sure they would feel great in-game. With all that being said, I think the most exciting part of this live letter was the Viper and Pictomancer showcase. So let's take a look at those now. So they have been teasing that Viper will be fast for a while now, and my god, they were not joking. Watching the Viper in action, it looks like you are constantly attacking with on and off the global cooldown abilities. And that constant barrage of attacks makes for a highly engaging looking job. Then when you take the awesome animations and how all the abilities flow together, if nothing else, Viper delivers on spectacle. You know, watching Yoshida's Lalafell in action, it kind of reminded me of another famous Star Wars duel, the one between Yoda and Count Dooku. You know, where Yoda is rapidly attacking Dooku while gracefully maneuvering around. Viper is really shaping up to be a Star Wars fantasy job, and that actually seems pretty fitting, considering how much influence Star Wars had on Final Fantasy. So another aspect of the gameplay that I really liked is, it seems that Viper has a lot of abilities that dynamically update. The hotbar looks very minimalistic, considering it's a level 100 job, and whenever Yoshida used an ability, you could see multiple other abilities changing to something else. And this ties into another aspect of the gameplay that they mentioned. Players choose between multiple abilities that light up to progress down different routes. So, for example, they demonstrated that Viper can go down a route that has multiple ranged attacks. This would be the strategic choice for whenever an encounter requires you to maintain distance or is otherwise challenging to approach. So yeah, I think Viper looks really cool. Everything they've shown makes for an exciting looking job, but it's all going to come down to how it feels to play. So next up, let's take a look at the Pictomancer. You know, I have to admit, when I first saw the Pictomancer in the job action trailer, I wasn't entirely sold on it. It seemed slow and kind of boring. However, after Yoshida showed it off live, those initial impressions vanished completely. Now, something that I thought was awesome is they put the basic combo as a dynamically updating action. This is actually something I would love to see for all the job combos. I firmly believe that the combos are not difficult, and spreading them across multiple keybinds doesn't change that. Now, as for the gameplay, I think it looks really, really good. So the Pictomancer utilizes magic paint to strike at their foes, and with each strike, they accumulate a paint gauge. Once that reaches 50, they can alter their color palette, unlocking even more powerful spells. At least, that's what I gathered from the presentation. Now, the standout feature lies in the 3 painting canvases, where you can render in a creature, a weapon, and a landscape into the world. The creature and weapon are offensive by nature, and the landscape is a buff for your entire party. And when you combine all of that into your rotation, it just looks amazing. I am also just a huge fan of the aesthetic. The attacks are so vibrant and colorful, and the way they flow together is a work of art. And who wouldn't crack a smile when rendering Moogle pom-poms to rain down on your enemies? So yeah, that was the live letter in a nutshell. If I'm being perfectly honest, most of the current job announcements didn't exactly blow my socks off. I didn't get the impression that these were paradigm-shifting job changes, but that's okay. Improving the flow and feel of the combat is also really important. And Yoshida did mention that they are already considering how to revamp the jobs for the next expansion. He teased that those changes will be far more drastic, with the aim to make every job feel more distinct. Anyways, that'll be all for this one. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, bye!